Hey you guys, it's Mia Said, your holistic practitioner, and I am about to lay out a 12-month detox plan for you to be able to de-scum, detox, and stay in an optimal space as long as you can. Hit the subscribe button so as I lay out these videos, you won't miss any of them. Hit the notification button so you can know when I drop another video. In the meanwhile, be sure to follow me on Instagram. That's under meaningful_holistic. And you can also follow me on Facebook. We're just going to reverse it to holistic and meaningful. So I want to make sure that you guys don't miss a thing so you can keep up with how to detox effectively and make it a normal and natural occurrence. Without further ado, let's get into it. Regarding the gut, why is the gut so important? To me, at least. We have been nurtured and raised to overlook the gut. We have received, what was that? Filters. Anywho's, we have received so much information around focusing on the gut. And no wonder, of course, this is why our body is kind of like going in disarray. And I am one of them to say, I was one of them because nobody really taught me how to focus on the gut. I had to learn it the hard way. So this is why I focus on the gut first and foremost, because after I went through my detox period, I realized the gut was the most important thing. And that's because I wasn't going to the bathroom like I naturally should have. That's actually the first way to detox. Now, I like to talk about the gut because it is one of the most important things that should be focused on. Why? Because if you are consistently eating foods, food is supposed to nurture us. But if we are eating so-called foods, it is not nurturing us, but it is also causing a scum that builds up along the intestinal walls. Think about it like this. If you have a toilet bowl is going to get all of the waste, all of the scum, all of the nasty, filthy stuff that comes from out of the body. Everything in the world pretty much mimics the body. So if you're constantly putting trash, dirt, waste, all of this different stuff inside of the toilet bowl, it is going to accumulate a scum. It is going to accumulate a ring, things that is going to block the beauty of the toilet bowl. Now consider the fact that your intestines are a toilet bowl. Think about it. Everything goes in, waste goes in, and it goes in travel, and it comes on out. So if you are eating foods, then that food is supposed to be broken down into the stomach to go into the intestines for the nutrition to be sucked through the intestinal villi. You probably say, what is a villi? Villi are these hair-like finger hair strands that is like a straw as well. And they lace the intestinal walls for the sake of pulling nutrition into the body to be dispersed everywhere else for the sake of nature and nurture. So if we have healthy foods in our body, everything is going to go well. The scum is not going to be accumulated because of the foods that are being eaten that is meant to actually clear the path and keep the path nice and healthy. But when we eat foods that is not healthy, that is so-called food, junk food is what we call it, refined foods, food that have lots of sugars, starches, carbs, things of that nature, it goes into the body and actually accumulate a scum buildup because it doesn't have those specific properties to actually sweep along the intestinal lining to keep the scum away. For instance, kiwi. Kiwi is meant to actually sweep scum away. So if we're eating constant junk food that doesn't provide the actual properties to aid the body and stand in optimal position, we're scumbagging it out. Same difference with the actual toilet bowl. Now the difference is that the toilet bowl actually receive all kind of crap, right? But when it comes to your intestines are not supposed to receive all kind of crap. So it's supposed to receive foods swept, keep it clean, and then as your body eliminate the waste, is going to actually keep things in a nice healthy space. But when it comes to the toilet bowl is a tad bit different. It doesn't care what's in it. But it's just the ideology of understanding that when you put stuff in the toilet bowl, it will accumulate a scum ring. And it's up to you to actually clean it out yourself. If not, you're just going to have a nasty toilet bowl. And that's when it turns and converts to your nasty intestinal walls if you put a whole bunch of crap in it that's not ever being cleaned with the proper foods that actually help keep that clear. Now, here's the other thing. So if you are constantly eating junk food, trash food, food that does not have fibers in it, foods that have a lot of sugars in it, foods that have a lot of refined carbs in it, broken down foods that have no nutritional value, things are going to get stagnated. And what's going to happen is the scum is going to become accumulated due to the fact that the body functionality has slowed down. The processed food is stuck into the intestinal wall, which is causing inflammatory responses. It's causing your body to not have enough fluids to flush out the waste. Now, this is where people really get jacked up because they don't drink enough water. They don't eat enough roughage, such as salads, lettuce, things that have a lot of water in it, apple, grapes, cucumber. These things supply fibers and actual high water content for your body to actually say, I have enough water to soften the stool and actually push it out. But when you don't have water inside of the food that you're actually consuming, it causes things to get stuck and also lack of give. And when I say give, meaning that the stool is hardened, it is coming out like pellets, or it causes constipation, which actually causes the inflammatory response. And this is why some people have some stickiness or goo on their poo. When you have tar or this yellow goo on your stool, that is a high indication that that's constipation and it's inflammation. So you really need to actually stop eating at that point to allow the body to actually process that stuff out, soften it. Now, some of my tricks to be able to get out of that first phase of constipation is senna leaves. Senna leaves are something that is actually really good to consume. Now, you must be very careful when it comes to consuming senna leaves because it doesn't work the same way with everybody. It works, but it works a tad bit different. If you guys need some more insight, I highly emphasize to do your own homework or consult with a holistic practitioner to give you more insight on how to utilize those herbal senna leaves so you can get the best results and not jack yourself up as well. So if you guys need any assistance, just contact me. The best way to do that is visit my website, religionofhealth.com, send me a message, or you can follow me wherever I am and hit me up in my DM and we can schedule an appointment to talk more about it. Anyways, if you guys happen to see that flower pop up every once in a while, please forgive me because I am trying to avoid the color coding and things like that. So the filter is the best way to hurry up and get in and get out so I cannot delay this actual video getting out. So now that we have the better understanding on how the tar actually builds up, let's talk about how we can do things. Now, what can you do to better the situation outside of senna leaves? Consume more water. Water is always the biggest pet peeve for a lot of people. They either say, oh yeah, I drink a lot of water. Yeah, I do. And then when I ask, how much is that considered to be? They say, oh, 3 bottles of the small, And I'm like, really? So let's just let it be understood and clear that amount of water that you think is enough may not be enough. If you guys really want to find out how much water you should be consuming, visit my website. I have an actual water calculator that is in the footer of religionofhealth.com. All you have to do is just plug in your numbers and it'll tell you how much water you should be consuming on a daily basis. Tip number 1. If you don't have enough water, then it is not going to be able to move out of the system properly. Your intestinal lining is like a muscle. It actually contracts and causes things to actually squeeze out. So if you don't have enough water, it's not going to be softened. When I say it, I mean the stool. The stool is not going to be softened. So some people take stool softeners like Dulcolax and these little small pebblets, and it doesn't work for a lot of people. Even the medicated stuff, it doesn't work for a lot of people. And that's because you need water. If you don't have water, then it's not going to move and you're going to be even more constipated. And you're also going to be dealing with a lot of toxic buildup, more than what is actually in your body due to the medication. So water is a big deal. Not only that, people would take medication or over-the-counter type of stool softeners, they still are dealing with the recirculation of toxic buildup. So let's just say that these things don't work. Now it's actually sitting in the stool that's causing your body to reabsorb the actual toxicity into the body. So it's like a compacted waste management system in reality, but it's not managing very well. So this is why people really need to consume a lot of water. So what I do is I always take at least a third of water with me wherever I go. And when I am at home, I refill this 2 to 3 times, mainly at least 2 times. So I always make sure I have this with me in and out of the house, and it is always being drank. Right now I'm on E and I need to fill it back up. But let's talk about how bad the backup can go. So you ever had somebody come into your face and their breath was like, what? Well, and it never changed for years and years and years. And sometimes you can actually see their stomach bulging out. Let me let you in on why their breath is smelling that way and how the connection to the stomach bulging part causes the breath to smell. So we have these sphincters that is actually right before the actual intestines, from one end to another, from the stomach. There's sphincters all over your body to stop things from flowing in and flowing out, back up and back in. So these sphincters, when you have all that food being placed in the intestines, a lot of times people eat lots of protein that stop the body from actually digesting food as swift as it possibly can. And it causes the stomach to actually bulge out. And that is not healthy at all. It affects a lot of stuff. It affects the liver. It affects the organs. If the stomach is pushed out too far, there's no muscle to hold the organs in to keep things in its place. So the organs start moving all over the place. And so many other things. It also causes prostate issues for a lot of men as well. But let's stick to the universal part. So when you have this bulging stomach and you have a bad breath, people don't realize that the food is actually backing up into the stomach cavity, causing the sphincter to open up. And this is where that worst case halitosis come in. No matter how much they brush, it's just a stank breath. And you also can deal with the actual tonsillitis or tonsil stones. You can actually deal with tonsil stones that can cause that as well. And that's because people may not be chewing their food properly and lack of water. So we really have to make sure that we're taking in tons of water, especially for people who consume a lot of meat, keto diet people, you know, all that different foods and mixed combinations. You got to be very careful when it comes to flushing the toxic out of the body, because it will go up. If it's not going out, it's going up. And hey, it's either you're going to pass gas through the anus or you're going to pass gas through your mouth. You have choices. If this video is helpful, please hit the thumbs up and also share it with somebody who you feel might need it as well. So when it comes to all of the lack of water, the gut health, we got to consider those simple, minute things. I have an Ultimate Quick Start Detox Guide book. You guys can find it in the link description below. And I also have a workshop that will be accompanied with it that will talk about some things like this and more in the actual workshop. So be sure to check it out and we can talk more about detoxing. So let's discuss the food pairing part. So we have improper food pairing. They don't teach us to pair the food properly. There's a food pyramid that is flawed. We just gonna say that right now because it doesn't help. Food pairing has been putting a toll on people in the United States of America very heavily, because the way they have taught us how to pair foods up has not been serving us in the best way. When you pair up cheese and meat and bread, that actually cancel out the digestive enzyme itself, starting actually in the stomach. So if the stomach can't break it down, it's going to take a long time to actually process it out, because one, it is not actual real foods, it's refined foods. Two, there are proper food pairing techniques that actually matters the most. So when you pair up one enzyme with another enzyme that actually don't work together, they will say, I think I'll just wait. So if you really want to know how to properly pair up your food, you can go to my website, religionofhealth.com/sign up. You'll actually get a pairing sheet, and it is also in the Ultimate Quick Start Detox Guide that is laid out for how to properly pair foods and how not to pair the foods up. So please take a look into the things that I'm offering to you guys, and you can also download it for free when it comes to the pairing sheets. So when it comes to the pairing part, you really have to pay attention to how you pair your food up. If you want the bloating to go away, if you want to go to the bathroom on a normal basis, because the way we eat, we're not supposed to be pairing protein and starches together, and many other things as well. Some other ways to get your intestines actually flowing the way it should be is by doing light exercises with movement. If you are not moving around enough, then your intestines are going to get lazy and they're not going to move for you. So it's best for someone to take a moment to do a 30-minute to 45-minute walk to get that intestine to actually start activating and causing the contraction so things can start moving around. I also will show you guys later on. Please subscribe, please hit the notification button, follow me in different areas where I'm going to show you some really cool, helpful tips on how to sit on the toilet and make it come out with no pressure. And you'll realize, dang, this is pretty cool. But you need water, because water is the activator. If you don't have it, nothing will flow properly. So consume your waters. One of my best ways to keep my intestine flowing outside of water and spontaneous teas that actually help just flush the system whenever I feel like it's getting a little slow or stagnated is mono eating. I would pick up foods and let the food digest and go back for more. I don't typically combine. So if I wanted to have some cabbage, I'm having cabbage alone. If I wanted to, and I would eat as much as I would want to eat. If I wanted to have a banana or fruit, I would make sure I eat it alone or I'll properly pair the food up with its partner so it can flow out of my system with no interruptions. And also there is a time frame for all of this as well. So be sure to download that sheet so you can see the time frame. But actually the time frame is in the book. Time actually matters a lot. So try not to evade that part, because we have been conditioned to just eat, even when we're not hungry, and we're not allowing the body to actually break stuff down. And the reason why we can't get a correct signal if we're really hungry versus just being greedy is because we don't drink enough water either. So drinking water before you actually eat, which I know a lot of you guys heard this already, will actually help the body digest the food better. And drinking water when you think you are actually hungry right after you ate, because the body can get confused. And a lot of time parasites have a lot to do with that. So don't be fooled. Don't get the trickery set up on you when it comes to if you're really hungry. Now, this part might really trigger a few people, because most people believe strongly into raw foods. Raw foods, certain foods are not to be eaten raw, because it actually is harder to break down and digest, such as carrots. Carrots are so hard to break down. This is why you have to chew it really well, but it's hard to break down, and it actually can get stuck in the intestinal lining. So things that are hard to actually break down should really be softened with a light steam, and not actually mushed to the point where you kill the nutritional value. Some foods actually are utilized better when they are hit with a little heat. It activates certain properties. So don't be afraid to actually cook your food if you are a raw eater. Now I want to talk a little bit about some more of these stool softeners. I had a client some time ago, and she would just swear that she's doing everything right, but yet she was so constipated and she couldn't figure it out. So I kept asking her, I said, hey, you got to tell me everything that you're eating, how you're eating it, when you're eating, how much water you're taking in, and all of these different things. And she was expressing to me that she take psyllium husk or Metamucil. So she's taking Metamucil on top of constipation, and I explained to her, I said, I need you to really think about putting the Metamucil or the psyllium husk down to allow your body to actually push stuff out, because what the husk does and the Metamucil does, it has so much fiber in it to the point where it's causing swelling and more constipation, but there's no water. So long story short, she did not want to get rid of the husk or the Metamucil, yet she was still constipated. So there was nothing that I can do about that, because some people are very stubborn and they don't want to go a different way. They don't mind spending money to hear a difference, but when it comes to actually performing the difference, that's when the tough part kicks in. And I talk about that as well. You know, we got to try everything to figure out how to help. I've had a lot of stubborn people that I've actually worked with, not just stubborn mentally, but actually stubborn when it came to the body, and stubborn mentally, because when it's time to follow the protocol, you actually have to follow the protocol to see yourself through. So Metamucils, fibers, and all that stuff, I never recommend that. I will recommend a Senna Leaf or a Smooth Move before anybody do that. I have an actual detoxer that helps push that stuff out. Not only it is a detoxer, it is nothing but liquid and full of nutritional value. So as it's pushing things out, it's actually uploading things in. So it's like a 2-for-1, more like a 1-for-many, to be honest. But you have to be dedicated to solving the problem. You just can't spend your money and then put stuff on the shelf inside of your pantry and your cabinets and act like things are going to change if you don't do anything different. So when you guys invest in yourselves, be sure to take advantage of whatever it is that you've purchased so you can see yourself through. If you need help with that or some kind of motivation from a coach, you guys can reach out to me and I have all that covered for you. But when it comes to the gut really needs a lot of respect on it. I'm going to think about doing a part 2 for this. But in the meanwhile, the main takeaways regarding the gut. 1, you need tons of water. Don't drown yourself in water, but understand how much water you need to be consuming for yourself, your body weight. Our body is made up from 70 to 80% of water, supposed to be, but most people are way below that threshold and they're dehydrated. Their skin is not hydrated. Their eyes are not hydrated. Everything is just drying out. And that's not what you want. You really want to keep your body hydrated because it plays a heavy part in the gut. If your gut is full of waste, it's going to reabsorb waste. It's going to recirculate waste. So we have to get the waste out. That is the purpose of the anus, so we can eliminate things, keep things going smoothly, so nutrients can be sucked into the villi, so you can feel alive and stay in detox mode. The other takeaway is try not to eat dehydrated foods on a normal basis. As much dehydrated foods you take in is 2 to 3 times the amount of water that you need to be taking in comparison to what you have consumed. Because as much as you eat that is dehydrated is going to suck the water out of you, because whatever has been dehydrated wants to live again, and it's going to suck the 80% of water that is in you away from you and cause you to be dehydrated. So we don't want to be dehydrated. We really want to put a lot of water in, and this is what real food does for you. Real food is not dehydrated. It has all the water. So if you're thinking about an apple chip, just go for the apple. If this information was helpful to you, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit the notification button so you know when I'm dropping the next series and other tidbits for this. And be sure to follow me in other areas to help you out with more information that's going to serve your body versus do a disservice. I am holistic practitioner Aset. I'm here to help you as a gut support specialist, and I want to let you know you can get through this. You can actually hit the reverse button. Let me show you how. Be sure to click the link below to check out the Ultimate Quick Start Detox Guide that's going to give you in-depth information, charts, and actually hold you accountable inside of the workbook. So I'll see you guys next time, and I hope to see you in the Q&A workshop.